Alright, let's start with the first puzzle. So firstly, before I start a puzzle, let me explain the thought process that I usually use to solve these kind of puzzles. So these kind of chess puzzles, first of all, they can really help you to become better at calculating chess positions. So I suggest the following process. The first step, what you want to do, is try and identify all of the pieces that are on the board. Firstly, I start from my own pieces. So here I can see I have one rook, two rooks, one soldier, and my king. Now, I will do the same for my opponent. So here he has one rook, two rooks, one horse, and one soldier. Next step, what I want to do is try to establish what kind of urgency I have in solving this puzzle. So that means that if I don't deliver checkmate on the next move, or if I don't force a move, which forces my opponent to respond, for example with checks, then what would my opponent do? So in other words, I try to establish how many kinds of forced response my opponent has. This, in the beginning stages, doesn't really help out because most puzzles are forced, but later on you will find that actually there are some quiet moves in the position that may be actually very important to move. So for example, if I have to move a quiet move, then my opponent would respond with the forceful move, and I have to be able to calculate my opponent's forceful moves. Now, in this position, to illustrate, there are a couple of forceful moves for black, which is 1, 2, 3. So forceful moves are those that your opponent really has to respond to. So in this position, there are 3 forceful moves, which all of them are checkmate actually. So I know that regardless of what I do, my opponent has 3 ways to checkmate me on the next move. So if I capture either of these pieces with my rooks, it doesn't really matter because next move it will be checkmate by the soldier. So what I now know is I established which pieces I have, I established what my opponent has, I've established the threats of my opponent. So I'm now forced to find a checkmating pattern. Well, that limits my options very, very severely. So I don't even have to look at this soldier, I don't even have to look at this rook, because they cannot deliver check on the next move. The only 2 possible solutions to this puzzle are rook 8 minus 2, so this rook moves backwards, or rook 8 equals 6. Both of them, the rook will check the king. Now, what I like to do in this kind of stuff is, in this kind of position, is to do a process of elimination. So for me, the first obvious move is not this. Why not? Because I can see, well, he can just kill me. Next move, I have no checks towards the king. I can do nothing with this soldier to check the king. I can do nothing with this rook to check the king. So I already know that this must be the solution. But in these kind of puzzles, let's try first calculate the process. So calculate it all the way to the end before you touch, before you move any piece. So if I move here, it is check from behind. However, here is an advisor. The advisor will kill me first. So I will move my rook over here, checking the king. The advisor moves backwards. Then my other rook over here can deliver now a checkmate, because this advisor is no longer in this obstructing this rook from delivering checkmate. Plus, the king cannot capture because of my soldier over here. So we now in fact know that this must be the solution. So let's put it on the board. So check, moves backwards, and will deliver a checkmate. That's the first puzzle done.